Tina, sometimes the thought of filling out a form is actually worse than the activity of doing it, isn't it? Why is that?
I suppose because we're not fully in control about how we present the information. We have to answer as the form requires us to do. So we have to fit our answers into the spaces and the lines that were offered.
And that can be daunting then, can it?
Exactly. I mean, it can be, it doesn't feel like a natural kind of communication. If you were to ask me my name and address, that would go very easily. But when I have to fill it out and fit it in, do I work out, do I put the second line of my address, you know, on the next line, or do I just run it on? Yeah. Those kinds of things raise all sorts of anxieties in us because we feel someone is going to be judging us. That's the other thing about form filling. Generally, it's some official function, and we feel that someone is going to be making some assessment or decision about us, maybe.
And you're even more conscious of your writing, aren't you? And you're doing your best writing, and that would slow you down too. That's
right, because we've been told so often that, you know, we must use block capitals and please make sure that it's clearly written and so on. That it takes it out of our normal kind of writing. It's not like writing a note to someone or a letter.
Yeah. Grace, do you find that? Do you avoid filling in forms, or is it something that just comes naturally?
No, I think it's something that would come natural. Yeah.
Would it?
Just, yeah, I think the main is to read the information properly. Yeah. Sometimes we don't read the information, we just skip over it. We think we're reading it.
I think I'd agree with you too. Well, if you'd like to know more about filling in forms and how to read them, there's a free workbook that you can order which has some exercises to help you. To get your free pack, you can free phone the number on your screen. That's 1-800 20 20 65, 1-800 20 20 65. Or you can visit our website, www.rug.ie. Tina, on languages in general, I read a statistic recently that there are now more than 50 languages spoken on a regular basis in Ireland. Do you think the government needs to do something about making Ireland a more multicultural society? Well, multilingual.
We are now de facto a multicultural and multilingual society, yes. But we haven't really, we do need to adjust our mindset, that we stop seeing people coming to the country who speak other languages not as a problem but as a resource or a threat, but to see them as a resource, that they're coming bringing a very valuable commodity, which is their language that they speak fluently, without us having to invest in years and years of bringing them to a lower standard in a second language. So yes, at the moment there is this focus on teaching English to migrants, but I think it's really important as well that the state and all of the branches of education and so on
respect the other languages.
Yes, that we show that we value the languages that they're bringing with them. And schools have made great efforts in recent years to do that. There are schools now who have a very high proportion of children from other language backgrounds.
16 nationalities that came across recently in the second class, and it was great.
And they make efforts, you know, I've spoken to teachers where they make great efforts to have signs up from different languages in the classroom and to comment on other languages, and it raises children's awareness that there are other ways of saying things.
And then maybe down the road they'll pick up Irish like Grace did as well and make efforts to have another language.
Well, I was just thinking I'm probably the opposite of what you were saying, because when we were in Glasgow, that's what happened to us. And the other side of the coin, you know, people were going there with the Irish language.
That's right, and they were.
And other languages as well.
Grace, as well as the Irish course you're doing, you're also studying business, are you?
Yes, it's a level 5 FETAC business studies course, which would involve computers, which again is a language of its own, and maths. So I'm enjoying that.
So it all ties up together then?
It does, yes.
And do you find the business course then is very handy to apply that at home in managing the household?
Oh yeah, the maths would be, definitely. And even to use a calculator, you know, it does help.
Your home is more organised?
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Great. Well, it's true that many household bills can be a bit complicated. Some aren't immediately user-friendly, but you might find this next clip a really useful guide.
We all use electricity every single day, and the ESB sends out no less than 11 million bills every year. Margaret Fitzpatrick of the ESB explains what to look out for when you get your bill.
When you get your electricity bill, The most important things to look out for are your account number, your name and address, your meter readings, the amount of electricity used, and the total amount payable.
There's also a date on the bill of when you need to pay by. You'll get similar information on all bills, like your gas bill or your phone bill. When you get your electricity bill, you'll see that there are 2 meter readings on it, a previous reading and a present one.
The present meter reading is the meter reading that we're billing you up to now. The previous meter reading represents the reading that you were last billed for. So if you subtract the previous reading from the present reading, that gives you the amount of units you have used. We aim to read the meters 4 times a year, but we do send out 6 bills.
You get a bill every 2 months, but your meter is not read by a meter reader every time. Sometimes you get a bill based on an estimated reading when the ESB estimates how much electricity they think you've used. This is shown by an E beside the reading.
There are occasions when the meter reader will call and cannot gain access to your premises to read the meter. On these occasions, he will leave a card with a telephone number on it.
You can then ring the number on the card and give the ESB the meter reading.
If someone wants to read their meter, they go out to the meter and take the digits down that are in the glass display. They give us all the digits except the one in the red square. Then if the customer wants to ring us in with that reading, we will then issue a bill based on that reading.
The bill you get will then have a C beside the reading to show that this is a customer reading.
You can alternatively pay the estimated bill even if it is higher than your reading on the meter. It will just mean that your account will be in credit, so your next bill will show a credit balance forward.
So what are some of the different ways to pay your electricity bill? And where can you pay?
There are a number of payment options available. Customers can pay through their local post office. There are a number of PayPoint outlets throughout the country where customers can pay. They can also pay by direct debit through their bank account.
If you want to pay by direct debit, you need to fill out the direct debit form on the back of your ESB bill. You'll need to give information like your ESB account number and your bank details.
When you set up on direct debit, the amount outstanding is collected 14 days after the issue date on your bill. It's collected directly from your bank account.
Are there ways of reducing the amount of electricity we use?
We can reduce the amount of electricity we use by perhaps turning off lights in rooms that are not being occupied, buying energy efficient appliances, by waiting until you have a full washing load before you turn on your washing machine. When a light bulb goes, you may consider replacing it with a CFL bulb.
Hiya, just wondering, do you sell CFL light bulbs?
We do. Do you know the wattage that you're looking for?
Well, my light bulb at home is a 75 watt, so
Right.
I'd be looking for something.
That would do the equivalent for you, right?
Yeah.
With the energy saving bulbs, you'd go from a 15 watt
Okay.
there, so that means it's basically only going to take that much energy from electricity, but it's going to be the equivalent of light to 75 watt. And it'll give you up to like 3,000 hours worth of light more than as compared to per se
Right,
the normal
okay.
one.
And how much are they?
850.
850.
They are dearer to buy initially, but they last much longer and are more energy efficient, costing you less in the long run.
Using compact fluorescent lamps, or CFL bulbs as they're called, is one way to reduce the amount of electricity we use. It will make paying this particular household bill a little less painful.
Grace, there are so many ways of paying bills now, online or even on the phone, or old-fashioned money in an envelope by cheque. What do you prefer?
Well, although I do belong to the old school way of filling in forms and everything, because of my business course now, I have set up for internet banking, and I find that very easy.
OK, so you're going to be doing more and more of those transactions online, are you?
Yeah.
Do you find that if people aren't very confident with their reading and writing skills, what's the best way for them to do it, would you say?
I would say practice, just to have to practice, and the more you do a thing, the more it will come easier to you.
Yeah. Tina, do you find that with so many technological advances now that there are so many things we can do for ourselves, from scanning your shopping in the supermarket to doing your own tax, that technological advances are making it even more difficult for people who maybe aren't as proficient as they'd like to be with reading and writing.
That's true, but I think they may also be much more self-conscious about it, that it's sort of a flaw in them, whereas in fact we're all struggling to keep up with the pace of technological change. And, you know, any of us who are over 30 anyway, that it presents challenges for everybody. And maybe one of the most important things is to be honest enough to say, how do I do this?
Is it moving too fast for people, do you think?
Well, I think there are always choices you can make. You can decide you go to a different supermarket. If you don't want to end up scanning your own goods, you can end up going to a smaller supermarket. Or there are certain ways around it that we can exert some control over the choices that we're presented with.
Well, thanks very much. It's all we have time for today. We'd like to thank our guests for coming in. To Grace Deany, thanks very much. Grace. And also to Dr. Tina Hickey. Next time, we'll be looking at how to read newspaper stories and finding out more about how to use ATMs. In the meantime, here are the contact details again to get hold of your free student workbook that goes with the series.
For your free student pack and workbook, free phone 1800 20 20 65. That's 1800 20 20 65. Or you can go online and visit www.rug.ie or write to The Really Useful Guide to Words and Numbers, care of Nala, 76 Lower Gardner Street, Dublin 1.